How to repair show will start soon. Say your questions. Grab a drink. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready.
Hi, welcome to How to Repair. Okay. Is it live? Yes, it is. Now, sorry, I've just jumped onto the mobile phone. I'm actually in the same location as yesterday. I have not moved. I'll take you quickly outside. It has cleared up a bit. And if I switch the camera over, just bear with me 1 second, give you a view. It's lovely when we've got these low clouds. I've been spending, as a true Welshman, most of the day surrounded by sheep. You can see the clouds up the back. This is where I was yesterday, and it's really beautiful when it's like this. I actually prefer this to the beautiful weather. It is absolutely a great spot. Anyway, I have spent the whole day since 7 o'clock this morning dealing with customers' questions, ringing them. I've helped a lot of people today. I'll just jump quickly back in, but I'm just going to leave you these shots. Oh, matter of fact, I haven't shown you the van. If I just go down here a little, I've got my own table where I had dinner last night, watching the sun go down. It was okay at the end of the evening, but there was a lot of haze, and you can see the clouds just meandering over the hills there. Anyway, let me jump back inside. The van's a mess, so you're going to have to excuse it. Basically, I have been in here all day. So let me just switch over. Okay, back on the screen. So, yeah, I've been helping about 14 people out today. I am up to date. I've still got maybe another 4 videos to finish editing. Burkeye is fed up to the back teeth of me. One of the videos is 2 hours, 40 minutes long, but you know, it's a long trip. It was a two and a half day trip coming up here. And it was, well, it was just a long week doing all the filming, all the driving, all the editing, and trying to keep this bus in order, shall we say. And yesterday was one of the most spectacular views up at Achill Island. It was really beautiful. And I was lucky to get up the hill. And that's because they just resurfaced the hill with new tarmac, and there was a lot of loose chippings on there. And I was wheel spinning in a few places. A bit nervy when you've got a van this big. Anyway, where do we start today? Burkeye, which one would you like to start with? Because I've done lots of bits and pieces. We also found out about Oliver's Selector switch, which can only be purchased from EGO. So he's a little bit stuck there as he can't find it. But I did manage to get hold of the director of Gottak. Now, we did a lot of filming at Gottak, and let me explain who Gottak is. Gottak is a very good company in Barcelona that makes And it was really interesting having a long conversation with him today. First, I'll let Burkay explain because I had an audio file that Daniel sent me, and Daniel really did do some sort of research on this for me. And this company, could you also find the link, Burkay, to the Gottak video, the long video? Because if people want to see how a good European factory manufactures selector switches, it's well worth watching this. And if you could put the link in the description, that would be brilliant. But just play the audio that Daniel sent to me this morning after I sent him the email.
Give me a second, mate. I'm going to do that.
Okay, no problem. So Gottak is in Barcelona, and I spent a week and a half up in Barcelona looking around this factory and producing a video that took us a long time to put together. I had full access of the factory, and I was able to show the injection molding side where they actually build the selector switch cams and bodies, and then the assembly process in the factory. And it was absolutely one of the best weeks I've had with a tour of the factory. And he really did look after us. I mean, some of the places we went to eat and drink after doing a full day's filming and work were absolutely exceptional. And I would love to go back next year to meet up with Daniel as well. He was telling me a lot of things about, because they use silver in the contacts on selector switches, and this is to make the conductivity much better. He was explaining to me that since 2005, the silver cost has gone up fourfold. And this must be a great burden on a lot of manufacturers who have to buy silver in advance to actually build their selector switches. And, we had an in-depth conversation on this, and I will be inviting Daniel on the show once I get back to the workshops at a later stage. But anyway, have you got that audio clip now, mate?
Yep, I can play it now.
This was towards Oliver's question. Oliver had a problem with selector switch. Have you got his question about?
I don't have the question right now.
Okay, so basically Oliver was stuck on a Falcon cooker, I believe, and he couldn't find a selector switch anywhere. So anyway, I decided to send Daniel an email yesterday about his selector switch, and Daniel sent us a voice reply this morning. So I'll let just Burkay play that because he explains it much better than myself.
Hi, Paul. Regarding the EGO energy regulators, this is a product that a lot of people contact me requesting if there is another manufacturer to substitute the EGO one. But my experience has told me that even though you may find other possible brands, which they are Chinese or similar, they usually don't work. So you have to go always through EGO. That's the only option available on the market. I knew there was some brand some time ago called Diamond, but I don't know if this brand exists anymore. I think it went out on bankruptcy. So, at the end, EGO is the only source for that energy regulator. That's
Okay, cut off, did it?
Sadly, that's the only option.
Burkay?
Yeah, man, I can hear you.
Oh, right. Okay. I didn't hear the last bit. But anyway, so Daniel did a bit of research on that EGO selector number that Oliver was after, and it was only available from EGO. So he's just going to have to hunt around all the suppliers trying to find one of these. Okay. Who else did we help today? I've given you some notes on it, and I just can't remember. There's so many people I've dealt with today.
We helped Jove.
Which was the E57.
No, F57. F57.
F57.
Yeah.
Can you have you got his question to hand to put up on the screen so I can explain what happened?
Yeah, just a second. I'm gonna do it.
And I'll show you what I'm doing for customers as well. And Burke, I'll bring this up. So basically, this is a web page that we created for Joff. And Joff had an E57 error code. Now, the E57 error code relates to a motor fault, but it's not always a motor fault. On occasions, and predominantly really the most occasions, the E57 is a error with the motor, but it can also indicate that you have a circuit board problem that drives the motor because it's an inverter motor. And we were able to diagnose that it was a motor fault on the washing machine. Now, the problem was Joff had already been waiting for a reply for a couple of days. So he went out and contacted Bosch's website and found out that the circuit board for this machine was £211. This is just a prime example of a manufacturer building obsolescence into the circuit, into a component. Now, if that circuit board, I know for a fact that the Chinese are able to make these inverter boards for as little as 10 to 15 pound. So Bosch are actually selling a circuit board. Okay, they have their design costs and everything else. I'm not, taking that away from them. But this circuit board is over £211. And if anyone is going to try and keep this machine going, they're not going to do it at that price, because by the time you put the labor on for an engineer to come out, diagnose the problem, replace the circuit board, the repair is nearly the cost of a new machine. So anyway, Joff actually went out and bought a new machine. Now, the great thing about this is he decided, rather than just letting the company that delivered the new machine to him take it away, he decided, right, I'm going to strip it out because I know the motor's good, I know the drum's good, I know the water valves are good, I know the door's good, I know whatever other components. And he listed all these components on the website. And I really can't commend him enough for doing this, because those parts will be out there at a very cheap, affordable price. And they may help other people in the future when it comes to replacing the circuit board, or not the circuit board, but any other components on the machine. And it was such a shame to see a machine that had done so well. And it was about 9-10 years old, this machine. And, when it came to something that failed, it basically wrote the machine off. And this is where we need better, better controlling of the right to repair. I don't think any manufacturer should have a markup in the way that they have with these components. I mean, it is just guaranteeing that the customer has to go out and buy a new machine. And, it's an absolute disgrace at the end of the day. But hopefully, over the period of time, we might be able to get proper legislation put in to start controlling some of these multinational companies in what they're doing. We can't just keep producing rubbish. Okay, what was the next one we dealt with? And Burkeye, do you mind if I flick over to Ecamm now? Because if I do it now, rather than waiting for the 40 minutes to time out, then I don't need to cut back. Okay, so give me 2 seconds. Okay, sorry about that. I have to flick off sometimes. We've got a problem with Zoom, not a problem with Ecamm. I have a commercial account with Zoom, but for some unknown reason, it keeps timing us out and only allowing us 40 minutes on a free phone call. So it's better for me to actually be on here. So what's the next one, mate? that we dealt with? The dishwasher, I believe.
Yeah, the dishwasher. But before going to that one, I think you need to mention about the document we put for them.
Oh, right, yeah. What we did was manage to obtain all the error codes for this machine, and we wrote them up in a spreadsheet for you. So on this washing machine, which was, I forget the model number off the top of my head, bear with me, I will give it you now. Let me just get there. I'm trying to find it.
It's that one, Bosch.
Yeah, a WAS, isn't it? 28840GB/14.
Correct.
So that was the actual error code list for that machine, and we've written it up in a way that shows the symptoms, the diagnostic, and remarks, all to help you. So that should be helpful for someone else in the future. Okay, so all that done, we'll move on to the next one. I see Idris is here. Good afternoon to you, Idris. Just so I'm not ignoring you, we're just trying to fly through bits and pieces today because I have not moved anywhere and we have just been editing and catching up on the last 2 weeks worth of work and making sure everyone is up to date, which they are. Now, this was a Bosch dishwasher. The chap came on the show the other day. I can't read the name, Burkeye. It's too small a print. What was the guy's name?
Mike.
Mike. So Mike contacted us on the show about 3-4 days ago, and he had a dishwasher which was going through the cycle, but it was not it was not heating and washing the dishes correctly. Now, I did a bit of research on the error code, and I can't read it on the screen, Burkeye. You're going to have to read it for me. What was the error code that he had? Can you remember?
It was not heating up.
It was not heating up.
equal to
That's
like-
right. That's right. It was a normal display, which doesn't have an LCD display on it, so it doesn't actually give an error code. It was just a flashing light symbol that came up. And he'd been testing the dishwasher, and on several occasions he'd found out that there was no heat. Now, after finding out the technical information on this dishwasher, we were able to determine that it was a heating system that might be faulty. So I managed to find the wire configuration on the motor. And if you scroll down on that page to where I show it, right, so basically the motor has got the heater built into it, and it's terminal 4 and 5 on this dishwasher motor, which is the heating circuit. Now, Mike actually tested this and it was open circuit. At the time when I was dealing with this, we didn't have availability of the motor on our website. So Mike said to me he'd already ordered the motor, which, you know, at the end of the day, he had to get his dishwasher up and running, but we got on the website. And this is one of the affordable parts for these Bosch machines. I was very surprised when it came to this dishwasher motor. It was only £80 for the whole motor and the heating assembly. Now that is what I call an affordable price when a machine goes wrong. I have nothing wrong with a manufacturer charging that type of money for a complete motor and heater assembly. Because, you know, yes, things go wrong. Things go wrong in your car. Things go wrong all over the place. But this meant that this dishwasher was an affordable repair. And we got all the information for him on this, worked out what was needed. I spent about 20 minutes on the phone with him, and we managed to get this rectified. So that's another customer that's going to have another appliance saved from the endless appliances that are going to the graveyard and causing this mountain of waste around the world. So that was all. That was just a couple of snippets I wanted to explain. And of course, Burkeye will put the link to those pages so you can see them in the actual chat. So he'll do all that. And there was a service documentation which we managed to obtain to get some bits and pieces sorted on this as well. So at least he's got a machine that's going to be up and running again. So if we got any other questions or anything come in.
We,
I
we, al-
noticed that.
we also helped.
Sorry?
We also helped Dave. You remember the guy who had a Prestcold fridge freezer?
Oh, yeah. I forgot about him. Now, this is a great story. Bring this up on screen for them. This is a 1974 fridge freezer, and it's got one of those very early compressors. Now, there was no technical data out there at all on this machine. So we did a bit of diagnosing on what was the problem, and basically he thinks it could be the starter relay or the starting system on the compressor, which is going to go faulty or is faulty. And we've managed to find some information that there was a universal relay and capacitor which will run up to a 1-horse motor. And I managed to send him all the links to this. So hopefully he'll be able to keep this going, because this is not only a fridge freezer. And the reason I asked him to send the pictures in, originally he sent us a picture of the outside of the cabinet. And I wanted to see if the actual interior had gone the typical yellow color, because a lot of the plastics go yellow over a period of time. But look how good the condition is. Now, the actual freezer box on this is not a box that freezes food. You actually have to put the food already frozen into the box, and the box actually keeps the freezer side reasonably cold for a few weeks. It's, this is 1974, and have a look at that light in the door. I think it's a light in the door, isn't it, Burkay?
Yeah, it looks like that.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine that this weighs in excess of 100 kilos and is just, you don't get, many appliances lasting this test of time. That is over 60 years old, or coming up 60 years old. Unbelievable. And you just, and he's going to be able to keep it going because he can get a universal starter. And basically, there are a couple of videos on YouTube showing how to actually do these. What I couldn't help him with was the pin configuration on the motor, because it was a totally different 1957. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. I didn't realize it was that old, but I glanced in your email. I saw 74. That's what most probably triggered what I said.
Can we say it's older than you?
Yep, by quite a bit. Thank you, you cheeky muppet. Yeah, but things like this should be kept going. I mean, it's a talking piece as well when you actually walk into someone's house and they've got a fridge like that still, and it's keeping the beer cold, which is the most important thing. So anyway, that was nice to be able to help these people out and steer them in the right direction and stop some appliances going onto the landfill, shall we say. So what else have we got in today? I know it's midweek and it'll be quiet. And is there any football on tonight, Burkay?
Yes, mate. France versus Morocco.
Oh, I'd like to see that. So I'm going to have to try and find.
It will be.
Yeah, well, the problem being is I'm staying put because I've got a parking spot that you saw at the beginning of this video that is, well, to be honest, I could stay here a few days. The view is tremendous, and it's quite interesting chatting to all the locals and everything. It was Idris. It was cheap, actually. Yeah, no, I thought it was really good price, mate. Sometimes I am shocked, and I was definitely shocked on the price of that motor. That is what you call an affordable part, and I have no problems with any manufacturers charging that type of money. It's when they start charging £300 plus for a washing machine drum that you could have replaced the bearings for as little as £20, or something like a circuit board on the gentleman's Joff's washing machine that was £211. When I don't know what manufacturers think we are, stupid or green or whatever. We know the Chinese can build components like this very cheaply and to a very high standard as well. But I'm not knocking the length of time that part lasted. I mean, it was a 9 or 10-year-old machine. So, I don't mind a circuit board failing or a washing machine drum set of bearings failing when it's 10 years old. What I object to is when they are charging these numbers that they're charging, because all they're doing is building obsolescence into everything. And this is wrong. We're meant to be much more, it was quite interesting when I spoke to Joff, that he told me he'd bought a new machine, but a much more basic machine than his old one. In other words, it didn't have half of these new features. He deliberately went out and bought something more basic, which I commend him on, because people are starting to listen. Darren Galdar, good afternoon. Couldn't drag yourself away from... Yes, well, yeah, I had a lot of work to do, mate. When you're driving and enjoying yourself, and I have driven the whole Wild Atlantic Way, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. But the big problem being is the backlog of work keeps building up. So I decided this view, basically, as you come up from Achill Sound, where you cross the bridge, basically I swung a left and came along the headland there that overlooks the islands. And there was a couple of quiet parking spots, which I noticed when I drove up to the top end of the island. So last night after the show, I drove back down here because, as you can well imagine, the headland where I was filming last night's show from was quite a gradient, and I'd have been falling out my bed in the middle of the night because I wasn't really on anywhere near level ground. So I came down to here. I've had a lovely day. I've been chatting to some Ukrainians who are living in Ireland because of all the conflict that's going on over there. I've spoken to a lot of tourists that are sort of wondering what the hell I'm doing here. And especially last night, I had a bit of a laugh because I was doing a full roast last night in the Ninja air fryer that has got a feature on it, which I can do Sunday roasts and everything. And, I've got a bench outside and I've got a great view, and I've got a load of my native people around me, Mr. Barbara. So, there's, it's a great spot, and I do appreciate the tip for coming here. We got married in 70. I hope that wasn't the wedding present. We got married in 74, and it was the first thing we bought as newlyweds. Well, may your marriage last twice the length of your fridge freezer. That's all I'm going to say, because, I don't get many people coming on trying to repair something of that age. But you see, this is the difference. I think in your thinking, it has got so old that you want to keep it going for nostalgia. And, I bet you that is not only a very good fridge freezer, and it keeps everything cold, and it keeps everything cold, but it's a talking piece. When your friends come around the house, I bet you this is a conversation piece, because we live in such a consumable or a consumerism society today that, everyone's got the latest this, the latest that, and they're showing you, oh, my washing machine talks to me and sends me an email when it's about to finish, and all this rubbish that is out there today. That is a quality piece of equipment, and I hope, even if the compressor failed on it, the pipework will be so good that some refrigeration engineer, if you find the right one, would be able to swap that over to a more modern compressor, but he would be able to actually possibly even convert it to a 134A gas rather than I imagine that fridge freezer is running, or I know that fridge freezer is running on an R12 gas, which is illegal now, and it should be illegal because it's an ozone depleting gas. But 134A was the gas that came after that, and then I believe it was 600 after that. It might be difficult to convert it, and I don't know enough about refrigeration, but I don't know if you'd be able to use the R600 compressor on some of the pipework that's in there. I would have to ask that question to someone like Tom would know, and maybe if he's about, he'll chuck a comment in. But your system's an R12 system, and you know those fridge freezers did have gassing problems. When I say gassing problems, that, you know, if you had to do any work on them, they were ozone depleting gases, which is, you know, this is why they banned them. But, you know, they banned something that worked and worked for 30, 40 years, then replaced it with something more environmentally friendly, but it's still hazardous because of the insulation on the foam and stuff like that creates gases and plastics. But now, instead of only scrapping, say, 100,000, 200,000 fridge freezers a year, we are now scrapping 3.5 million. So you've got to ask a question to yourself sometimes. Has this modernization towards environmental fridge freezers really beneficial when we are scrapping 3.5 million fridge freezers? So, you know, this is a question we have to ask. But anyway, thanks for actually sending us all the information. It was a joy to look everything up. It's our first child. It's part of the family. Yeah, well, I can fully understand that, mate.
All right, so we are up to date with the comments. So I think it
Okay.
was one of those silent days, so I can move on to customer questions if you want from email.
Yeah, move on to them. Let's get completely up to date, because tomorrow I'm going to have a look at how I feel and how up to date I am with the videos before I move on. Now, everything is crystal clear today, so I can read that, and the text is reasonably large. John, Appliance, Beko, DTKC E80021W, Condenser, Tumble dryer, completely dead, no power. Hi, I wish I... No, have you got a reading file on this, mate? Because the print's too small for me.
Yeah, mate.
Appliance, Beko DTKCE 80021W Condenser Tumble Dryer, completely dead, no power. Hi, I wish I had watched your video earlier. It is a great help. I hate to see things thrown away that can be fixed. My machine is getting power to at least 2 points on the PCB, but it is totally dead and will not power on. Now that I have seen the video, I know there are a few other things to check. Can you test the PCB for me or point me in the direction of further fault finding on this issue?
Okay. There was a company on eBay that actually, it was a very good business and it had a good reputation. But when I last looked for them, I couldn't find them, but they still may be out there. You may have something like a resistor, a diode, or possibly a link switch gone faulty on the circuit board, or you're saying you've got voltage going through to the circuit board, so you've got a live and a neutral coming from the electrical filter in the back right-hand side of the machine. So you're testing the two wires that go to the PCB and you're saying there's voltage. From there, the only thing that activates the machine to work or be able to start is the actual door interlock mechanism. If the switch inside the door lock is working correctly and you're able to do a continuity check on the wires going to it and from it, then I suspect that the circuit board is faulty. Circuit boards can become faulty because of another component failing, so be aware of that first. But it is quite common for these circuit boards to become faulty. But I can't check it for you, mate. As you know, I'm in Ireland at the moment. When I'm in the workshop, I am actually creating videos to help people in a general basis. And if I started fixing everyone's machines, because I said I would do it, I would never get any videos made. So do understand, I'm not being awkward here in any way, shape or form. I just do not take on customers' machines that want to send me stuff. If you live in my local village or town, yes, I do repairs for people. But if I started taking repairs on for the whole country, I would never get any work whatsoever done. So I'm suspecting it's a circuit board fault. Let me give you some tips here, John. John, use your model number. You can drop the last W off your model number. Go to Facebook Marketplace and also go to eBay and see if anyone is actually selling a complete machine that may not be heating or may not be turning. Then you could rob Peter to make Charlie better, as the expression goes. You may even find, if you go to a website like Beko, or even our website, if we have a circuit board, we might even have a circuit board for this machine. I don't know, and I'm not going searching now. Just use your full model number and have a look. But sometimes engineers sell off old stock that's on the van. And this means that they might not be partners with us, but they may actually be selling it on eBay or Amazon or where else? Facebook Marketplace, Gumtree. There's many places, secondhand places and new stuff that is sold off cheaply. Now, it might not be listed via your model. It might be listed only by the genuine part number. So you are actually going to have to find out what the genuine part number is for this model of machine. Once you have that, you've got two numbers then. You've got your genuine model number and you've got the genuine part number, and you are going to be able to have a hunt round. And remember one clever little button that eBay and Facebook have put on. When you do a search, if you're already logged in with your account, you'll see a little button on the page that says Save Search. And what this does is if anything gets listed for what you were searching for, either via model number or part number, it will email you when one is available. So it's worth parking the machine up, especially as we have this warm weather at the moment, and seeing if anything actually pops up over the next few weeks. Because I have seen circuit boards, brand new, ex-engineer stock, and they've been selling it for £40-50, and that's a bargain. So do try that as well. You will find one, because any manufacturer that produces a machine in the UK normally has a minimum production run of 5 to 10,000 with that model number. And that means there is 5 to 10,000 machines out there which will be scrapped at some point. And some very clever people occasionally go, I'm not letting them take my old machine away. I know the drum's faulty, so I'm going to sell the motor, the door, and the other components. So you will find one. You just have to cleverly go about the way you search for it. I hope that answers your question, John. Next one, mate. Right, read that to me. The print has gone even smaller with the amount of text on there. It's Simon. I can read that bit and I can... Go on, I heard it start.
Appliance, Bosch, WKD28541GB/06. Washer dryer condensing unit contains lint and limescale. Hello there. I love your videos because they are super informative. In one video, you mentioned that the condensing unit might need a good clean and that you would show how to do this in another video. However, I cannot seem to find this video anywhere. I asked Bosch about it, but they were not forthcoming with any info and just told me to get an engineer to look at it. My ex-husband just replaced the carbon motor brushes yesterday. When the back panel was removed, we noticed that the plastic container on the left side is clogged with lint. I found out from one of your great videos that this is the condenser unit. It is not causing a major problem for the drying process currently, but I still want to find out how this condensing unit could possibly be cleaned. Can it be removed from the machine, rinsed out and then put back? How would this work, and could it be done easily by someone other than an engineer? Can you help me? I would love to hear from you.
So that's not Simon. That's my eyesight as usual. It's Simone. Okay. It depends on the model of machine. Are you able to have a look on Bosch's front-end website and see if you can get the schematics on this, Berkay?
Let me check, mate.
Or am I asking too much?
No. You never ask too much. I can do that.
Okay. I'll wait for you with this. Yes, on certain models of machine, the condensing unit will come off. And on other models of machine, you are able to strip down the heating unit at the top of the machine as well and clean up the fan blade and clean up the heating compartment that allows the air to flow through. There is a video that Berkay, once he's finished his one task here, will go and hunt for me. And I did a washer dryer video on how to maintain a washer dryer. And there is some very useful information in that video explaining how the water valve works in conjunction with the condensing unit at the back, because it is a very different type of condensing system to a condenser tumble dryer, for example. The washer dryer machines have a condenser that runs down the back of the machine, and it's cold water from the water supply that trickles down this condenser that allows the warm vapor to collect against it. And this is what actually, thank you for that. Next picture. So we're looking for one for the drum. Okay, no, none of them. There might be a separate what picture. That's the soap drawer. Nothing else on there? No. Right, there's the condenser. So it is listed. That is 0511, is it? To the right-hand side, Berkay? Yeah. 0511. Am I reading that correct?
Correct, mate.
Okay, so look, if you are able, Simone, to you would be able to do this, or not worried about the price. This part very rarely ever goes wrong. Only if you damage it would be the problem. But from this diagram alone, you can see that the heating box for the tumble dryer, which is on the top of the machine, and that's on the left-hand side where the heating element is, all that can be opened up and maintained. You also, in the top right-hand corner, Berkay, if you could go up there, you can see the fan motor at the very top. And this sits on top of the condensing unit to pull the air through the machine and then back into the door seal. Now that piece, which is 0511, is the condenser plate. And a water valve is attached to this plate at the top and trickles water down there. These things are prone to fluffing up. And once every 2-3 years, you really want to be cleaning this condenser box on the left-hand side and also the condenser plate. And it's worth cleaning up the fan blades inside the fan motor at the top there with a toothbrush, because the actual fan blades get fluff stuck to them. and it dries out over a period of time. Now, if you can imagine a car wheel, yeah, thanks for finding the video, and chuck that in the link on the side as well. If you imagine a car wheel that gets imbalanced, it would cause a wobble and therefore wear the bearings out in the fan motor, and it would also become noisy. By keeping that fan blade clean, you are not only increasing the airflow going through the machine, but you are stopping it becoming imbalanced and therefore prolonging the life of that motor system. You know, it's all down to maintenance and at the end of the day, and washer dryers do need quite a bit of maintenance. What I'll do for you after the show, Burkeye will create an FAQ page for you, and what we'll do is put all the relevant information and add the additional which he's already put in the comments, I believe. That video, make sure you pop that into the comments for other people. That is a very good video to explain how washer dryers work and how to maintain them. So I hope that helps you, Simone. Thanks for sending all that in. Do you want to move on to the next one? Now, I'm just going to have a cigarette because every day I'm on here for ages, and I'm sorry, I smoke, I drink, I've got bad habits. Like it or lump it. It's not a choice. Claudia,
Yes,
do you want to
Chloe.
read that one to us? It's a Bosch washer dryer. Another one.
Appliance, Bosch WNA14490GB washer dryer, not draining and shows E36 error code. We watched some videos but didn't manage to remove the front door of our washer dryer. The machine isn't draining and we got an E36 error. We have cleaned the filter and other parts as much as possible, but it is still not draining. It was working fine until it got shipped abroad to where we've moved. We made sure to put the transit pins properly back in before moving it. It is also making a funny rubbery noise when turned on while the drum is rotating. We cannot find a Bosch engineer here, and since it is a decent machine, only 2 years old, we would love to try and fix it DIY. Any help would be much appreciated.
Do we know what the telephone dialing code was for that one?
Yeah, mate, it's UK number.
Oh, right, so they're still using a UK phone number, but we don't know where they've moved to. Okay, I imagine it's somewhere around the Mediterranean. E36 may be a drainage issue. I'll have to look that up according to the model number. You haven't given us the complete model number. After the GB, there's always 2 more digits, and I do need that one going into technical diagrams and everything else. You may have a blockage in the sump hose, and something I have noticed when people put washing machines into storage for long periods of time, most of the sump hoses that come from the bottom of the machine have a ball in there, which is an anti-siphon ball. Now, if you can imagine that ball floats in water and seals the drum compartment up when it's on a wash cycle. And this is designed to keep the detergent in the drum. You've already got the schematics on that one, have you?
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, we're looking at part 0419, and that is the sump hose. Can you zoom in on that a bit? It might show the ball in the hose. Yes, you can see it there, right in the middle. That is an anti-siphon ball. And what actually happens when these rubber pipes are dried out for a long period of time, and you may have gone to a hot country, that ball could be stuck in the pipe. I have seen this on a regular occasion, especially in Portugal, where I live a lot of the time. If the machines aren't used on a regular basis and the water evaporates, that ball can stick. Now, you want to take that hose off and inspect it and make sure there's no sock or baby sock or handkerchief or anything else jammed in there. You say you've checked the impeller on the pump and the filter. The other problem could be because the machine has not been used for a period of time, you want to bench test the motor. I believe the motor on these machines will be a 240 volt motor. You need to check that, as some manufacturers now, no, that's the main motor, nothing to do with it, Burkeye. It's the pump I was talking about. Yeah, that one there, which is, yeah, that one there. Yeah. It's not an expensive pump. That's quite a good price from Bosch, really, when you consider it's their main website, £37. So you want to bench test that motor to make sure the impeller is turning and working correctly. The other problem that you may have is someone may, when you were transferring the machine, and I've seen this happen before, sometimes when people are moving machines overseas, the removal company might stick a cork into the waste hose, and they've pushed it so far into the hose that it's not able to empty. And that's because they didn't want any water spilling over the other furniture when you moved locations. And also check the waste fitting that you have got it attached to in your new house. The best way to do this is actually put the machine on test and actually have the waste hose into a bucket or over the sink to see what flow of water comes out when it's on a rinse cycle. Because if no water is coming out at all, then you predominantly have a blockage either with a pump failure or possibly something in the sump hose. So that's all I can help you with that. But again, we will try and create an FAQ page and attach the appropriate videos for you to assist you in repairing this. But it won't be a difficult fix. I can promise you that. I can't see anything problematic happening. Right, so let's go to any comments we've got. My 10-year-old fridge freezer has 600. Yeah, that's the new, well, it's not the new gas, but it is the gas that has been used for the last 10, 15 years. Basically, I believe it's more of a propane type gas than a refrigerant type gas. That you see, the 134A, R12, and a couple of other gases were what they call ozone depleting gases. This means that if they were released into the atmosphere, they were doing damage to the ozone. And this is why it's all been replaced. And predominantly now, 90% of all refrigeration is 600 gas. I don't know the chemical format of it, but it's basically less damaging than any other gas. Valdar, search for RTE player to watch the soccer online. National, yeah, I've got a VPN anyway, so I would be able to watch it. But looking at the amount of editing that I have to do, yeah.
Only you? Only you?
Okay, both of us, yeah. But I still edit a lot of the videos before Burkeye get them. I have to watch. You know, when I drove up from Dingle to where I am now, I would say I had to go through 14 hours of video footage to create 3 or 4 videos only 1 hour long. And it's a lot of editing. And especially the way I talk, I have to cut out some of the words I say or some of the swearing or cursing the other cars, as they take up 90% of the road. So there's a lot of editing that goes on in these videos. And as you will see with regards to the Mizzen Head video, the look at the roads from Mizzen Head. And we've got another useful video with regards car van maintenance going, where I actually repaired the drive shaft on the van because I had a hole in it. And I used a silicon compound with a bicycle repair kit to patch it up. I've done most probably 1,200 kilometers with that repair, and not a drop of grease has come out of that drive shaft now. So I'm really chuffed with that patch up I did. And I'm pretty sure that will last for many years. But of course, when I go for an MOT, they will insist that I replace it. So I have no choice on that, but I will have to replace it. But as a temporary repair, a brilliant idea. I used a bicycle repair kit, cleaned up the boot, as they call it. I used brake cleaner to remove all the grease. I then filled the actual the rubber with grease, because grease had all come out of it. So I used the grease gun to pump grease in through the hole. Then I cleaned it again, put a bicycle repair patch on it, and then put a silicone compound on the top. 1,200 miles later, not a leak. So I'm a chuffed chappy with that one. It's a great camper repair, because as you know, if you take a drive shaft out to have it repaired, you've got to drain all the gearbox oil, and it's a big job. It's not a 5-minute job. So I was really chuffed with that. So anyway, what else have we got? How do I pronounce that? Miod. I'm not even going to insult you with trying to pronounce it. I apologize, but good afternoon to you anyway. Hi, Paul. My Bosch Series 4 tumble dryer getting really hot and shuts down after about 20 to 30 minutes. This is usually due... Right, let me read the whole thing. Condenser and lint filter are clean. It leaves clothes inside very hot and steaming. Okay, as you have not... You say you've cleaned the lint filter that is clean and the condenser. You still have all the cavities where the air flows through. If you have any blockage on this, then the condensing process will not be working efficiently. Secondly, if the pump is not transferring water to the collection department, now some Bosches are at the top where the water collects, and there were a few Bosches at the bottom. You say Series 4, and everyone expects me to know everything off the top of my head, and I'm not the encyclopedia of appliances. 40 years, yes, I have seen pretty much everything, but I'm doing this off the cuff, as they say. So you want to be looking at making sure the airflow circuit is completely and utterly clean. The heater and the area at the back, take off and make sure that it's clean. Do not damage the heater in any way. They are fragile. If it is a kettle type element, some of the Bosches used what they call, very similar to washing machine elements, which are what you call solid state elements. And the other thing you want to be testing is making sure that pump is removing the water from the reservoir to the pump is working. Okay. Then you have to have a blockage in the system, mate, because if it is not condensing the water, yeah. Can you just tell me also which country are you in? Because room temperature does matter. There are levels that a condenser dryer will work in, and I forget what they are off the top of my head, but a condenser dryer wouldn't work that efficiently in a very hot temperature, I believe. And I think there's certain room temperatures, but it is something to do with either temperature external to the machine, or it is the condensing process is not working correctly. It can only be one of those two things. It can't be anything else. So I hope I answered your question there for you. And by all means, contact us through the website. And if you speak perfect English, I'm happy to give you a call. We got some hard names today. JV Hassan. I'll just say Hassan. Good afternoon to you, sir. AE error code. Oh God, I'm top of my head. AE error code LG. I can't remember what it is. Top of my head. I know it, but it's brain lapse, and I can't think what it is. While on dryer heating, water starts to fill in. LG front loader washer with an AE error code while on dryer heating water starts to fill in the okay, this could be that it's not pumping the water out, or the water valve that is trickling water into the condensing plate on the washer dryer is letting water in too fast. It is possible that the circuit board isn't triggering the empty mechanism, because on a washer dryer it will normally dry for about 4 or 5 minutes, and then the pump will come on intermittently. When I say intermittently, it might be programmed that it starts drying for 5-10 minutes, and then the pump comes on for 1 minute, continues drying for another 5-10 minutes, and then the pump comes on again. Now, if the water flow is too heavy going into the machine, of course the drum is going to look like it's filling up. But you're going to have a look at the pump system to make sure it's emptying. You want to find out if the pump is actually coming on at all. And you also want to make sure that you haven't got too much water coming into the machine as well. You know, I'm quite happy to have a phone call with you and have a look at this. All you've got to do is use the contact us page at the website, fill in all the details and the time zone to call you in. So just say +2 GMT or whatever, and I'm quite happy to assist where I can. No, that's 2 separate questions. No, that's okay. Go back to the first question, Burke. Sorry, my dyslexia. AE error code in LG top loader washer model is right, or that I'm going to have to look up. Can you send both of these in via email, and that'll give me a chance to actually look these things up for you? But the washer dryer one, I'm pretty sure that you've got a problem with the emptying system, or the machine is letting too much water in. It's a common fault on washer dryers. So if you could send that in via the website, contact us page, and I'll quite happily give you a call, mate. Oh, you're from the UK. It's the only reason why I was questioning, as you can imagine. I'm trying to work out the name, and whenever I see wording like that, I assume that it could be from overseas, because we've just about covered half of the planet with different questions coming in the last week. Romania, Thailand, Argentina, America, God knows where else, Israel, Jordan. We've had people from everywhere, mate. So next one. Mine Pusu. I wonder if you can get one of these washing machines with a clear case. Like I've got a demo LG machine, and my intention, let me read the whole question. I wonder if you could get one of those washing machines with a clear case, like the demo units I once saw. Would look so cool in my washroom. Well, I'm actually thinking of making an aquarium with it, because a few people with these LGs and they had clear sides on them, and you could see all the working components. And I saw a picture going back a few years ago. Burkeye, I'm going to find something now for you. Just bear with me 1 second. I'm going to show you this because it's absolutely brilliant. LG, just bear with me. And then Burkeye will bring the picture up on the screen. Oh, someone's done a video on it. Copy link, copy image, just go copy link, copy, where is it? Copy image address. Let me pass that to Burkeye, and then he can pop this up on the screen. We must say thanks to whoever it is for displaying it. Have you got the link, Burkeye?
Yes, mate.
And I am going to find, let me copy this link. I'm going to put this in the chat so I don't breach any copyright. and copy link. This is really, really clever what this person did. Copy link address, and that should be to YouTube. Yes, it is. I am putting this for you in the chat. Someone has already beat me to it, and they've made a video on it. But they turned their washing machine into an aquarium. Absolutely brilliant. I love people that do stuff like this. I've got a page on the website somewhere that shows you loads of things we've made out of washing machine drums and what other people have made out of washing machine drums. But that's a damn good use for a cabinet. And I think you could actually do this as well using a jigsaw and cutting the sides off the machine. So you've got a great big panel, and then actually sikaflexing or siliconing a glass into that panel. And then, of course, doing the base of the machine. But, you know, there's loads of information on stuff like this. And, you know, it makes a great feature for keeping tropical fish and everything else. So, Craig, good afternoon to you. Hi, it's Craig from yesterday with the Hoover HWAS 500. What should I came out and said was unsafe to use. Could get electric shocks, so machine is back in the back garden. Well, I can't remember what the problem was. If he's saying it's unsafe, then you've got some type of an electrical issue. Either an element could have gone to earth, a motor could have possibly gone to earth. It would normally be tripping the RCD, but did he tell you what the problem was, Craig? I mean, just saying it's unsafe, he's not actually telling you what the problem is with the machine. Be very interesting to know. And it's a washer dryer, so it could be from the heating circuit on the top, because on washer dryers you've got a heating element for heating up the water and a separate element for heating up the air when it's on a dry cycle. So I'd be interested if he gave you any more information on that. Vito M. Hi Paul, enjoying listening to your knowledge. I have front loader Australian model Siemens IQ 500. That'll be similar to the European one. I have it since new 2006. Never had an issue yet. Well, look, some of the stuff they build is exceptional, and machines that were constructed prior to 2010, Bosch did a damn good job. But what Bosch are doing now is the accountants have taken over the house, and all they care is answering questions to their shareholders, and they don't give a flying. They don't care about their customers that were so loyal to them for so many years. Now they're all they're interested in nowadays is profit, profit, profit. And you know, the sealed drums, expensive programs, as we saw earlier in the show, and other things like that are just making a disgrace of a company that spent 50 plus years building a reputation, and they are destroying it just for profit. So there's, you know, I can't say much more than that, mate. It's I'm glad you've had a good experience. Siemens is a Bosch machine, and I do know of the IQ 500, and it was a good machine, mate. I'd be interested to know in Australia, by the way, if you took the lid off the machine, is it a sealed drum on that machine, or is it got bolts in it where the two halves of the drum come apart? That would be very useful information. Is it only Europe that they are ripping everyone off, or is it all around the world? Okay, thank you for your answer. My suspicion was that it can be a thermostat or sensor next to it in the back of the unit near the heating element. Yeah, well, I can't remember what the first question was. Let me just see if I can find that a second. Have you found it, Burkai?
I'm searching for it, mate.
Problem is, there's so many. Yeah, it's getting really hot. It's possible it's an NTC sensor or a thermostat, but overheating, it's possible that it's normally what normally happens when a tumble dryer overheats. You have two thermostats usually on the heating systems. One is a cycling thermostat and the other one is a cutout thermostat. Now, if it goes above, let's say 75 degrees, the cutout thermostat would become open circuit and then it would stop heating completely. When you're still getting warm, moist air, and you say warm, moist air, yeah, meaning the water is not being condensed, then that is when I'm suspecting a airflow problem more than any component problem. And that's why I said that. Overheating and shutting down completely. Well, if it's shutting down completely, there may be another thermostatic system which is shutting the whole program down. But you did say, I think, that you had it was still moist in the air and hot and steaming. So this is why I am suspecting more a condensing process problem than just a overheating problem. But if it is shutting down, then it may be shutting down because it's either detecting that it's not drying the clothes and a sensor is possibly activating that, but I still believe that your problem is to do with airflow. And the reason being, if the machine is heating and the water, the clothes are getting warm, this means steam is now going through the system as it should do over the condenser. At that point, when it hits the condenser, that steam should be turning into water and therefore the pump transferring it to the collection box. If this steam passes all the way through the condenser and goes back into the machine, it's just churning air over. It's not condensing. And then the clothes will get hotter and hotter, and you may have a sensor that's shutting it down. But I believe that your problem could be to do with the airflow systems and just a simple thing like a blockage somewhere. So do inspect that first before going and chucking money at this machine, because it shuts down for a reason. But the reason I'm suspecting is that it's not condensing the water. And that could be just a simple airflow problem. A good place to always look, by the way, do you know where your filter is when you lift the filter out in between the door and the chassis? Get a torch and have a look down that hole, because a lot of fluff can build up in that area. And it's a common problem. Next one, mate. The cigarette went out in the ashtray.
Alright, so we are up to date with the comments and all the questions. It's up to you.
Oh, in that case, no, we'll wrap it up, mate. You don't want to be working late, and I've got plenty of things to do, editing and everything else. I'm glad we've managed to sort of catch up a fair bit. We've got a lot of filming to do over the next few weeks to give you an idea of what's happening. I am only a 4-hour drive away from Barry in Donegal, where I'm going to be spending about a week with him, going out on repairs, also having a look how to help them with regards selling surplus stock and scrapping machines correctly in the future. There's also a guy in Derry I'm going to see as well. And I've already contacted a ferry company, and the price to go from Ireland across to the UK when I'm going down to Grimsby. I've got to go to Glasgow first, and the ferry's not far from Glasgow. And then I'm going down to Grimsby, which is about a 5-hour drive, but it's English roads. I won't be filming. There's nothing really I want to film there at all. So that'll just be one location straight off to the next location. And then from there, I'll be making decisions on where else I'm going. So we've got all that side to take care of. Now, as I keep saying to everyone, and you are sending your emails in, I can tell via the amount of questions we're getting each day. I'm here to help you. This is my job in the business. I create the video content to make videos for you to help you repair your machines. And I do this show at the moment because I'm traveling every day, because I feel I should be not just traveling, enjoying myself. I should be actually helping people repair their machines and also answering the emails and everything else. But if I don't have good explanations of what is wrong with your machine, then I am hitting in the dark. Some of the questions that have been sent in via email, I'm much better at answering because I've been able to prep before the show. And this is why Burkeye brings on 3 or 4 questions each day, which have come in via email, which I've been able to glance at beforehand. And also I've created web pages for these people as well. These web pages aren't specifically for the individual that's got the problem. If I am answering a question, I want everyone to be able to search for it on Google, find the answer without even contacting me. Because I always say, if one person has a problem, there's 100 people searching for that same problem that can't find assistance. And this is why we go to the effort of creating these pages, not for marketing or anything else. It is specifically there to assist more people and try and solve more problems with machines, thus keeping a lot of machines from the landfill in the world. Because our biggest problem on the planet at the moment is waste. And, we have just become such a disposable society. It's incredible. When we look back only 15, 20 years ago, we used to have stuff that lasted. So, I just saw Mr. Washer dude come in. Bring his thing up. How are you? I finally back from my Spain holiday. I hope you had a great time. You've come from Costa del Espanol to Costa del Britain by the sound of it. I hear it's up to 36 degrees today. So you'll just be topping up on your tan. So yeah, British weather, incredibly hot this year. It's, well, what can I say? I've dragged it all the way from Portugal for you. Okay, so we're up to date on everything. I'm going to call it a day. We've been on for 1 hour and 15 minutes, and I'll catch you all tomorrow. Take care, all. Thanks for stopping by.